Can we talk about 2020 when the bills are high and the income's low? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, a channel which talks about everyday finances for everyday people. If you're new around here, my name is Cheryl and I share my financial journey online, and I also share budgeting and savings tips as well. 2020 is a difficult time. The bills are high, the income's low, it's hard to buy a house, it's hard to get by these days, and I honestly thought that when I became a mum it was going to be so easy. I thought I'd nailed it. I thought all I needed to do was get a good job with a good salary and then bam, I'd have it all. But unfortunately life didn't turn out that way. So when I became a mum, I decided that I was going to go back into work my way up the career ladder so that I could give my son lots of good opportunities and basically be able to afford things such as school trips and taking him to activities and events and holidays and so on. So I decided to start off as a data assistant, and I worked my way up the career ladder, and each year I would step up into a new role, get a bigger salary, step up again, bigger salary, keep stepping up, and then before you knew it I was on the high paying role. And I figured all I needed to do was have more money. I thought it was as simple as that. Just start, work my way up the career ladder, get more money, and then I'd nail it. I'd buy a house, I'd get a new car, we'd be going on holidays every year, we'd be sorted. But unfortunately life didn't turn out that way, and what actually happened was as I worked my way up the career ladder, my lifestyle increased as well, and I found myself buying more clothes, more beauty products, found myself having more days out, just so much more. I spent a fortune on maintaining this lifestyle. Fast forward 5 to 6 years later, and I don't really have much to show for that. When I first began this financial journey, I found myself in a position where I actually had lots of clothes, lots of fun memories, but I didn't have the actual goals that I was working towards. I didn't have the financial freedom. I didn't have the house that I really wanted to buy. I just didn't have the things that really mattered. Early last year, after the car had broke down, I decided that I was going to really focus on my finances. I realised that enough was enough. It was more than just clearing the credit card. It was more than just clearing the loans. It was so much more than that. It was about building wealth and creating the life that I really wanted. Being a mum to a little boy that's 7 now, I found it so hard to go back to work when my little boy was a baby. It really broke my heart, and I promised myself that if I was ever to have more children, I wouldn't be in that position where financial pressures was going to make me go back to work full-time. Part-time, of course, but full-time, no. And I knew the one answer to this was to ensure that I would get control of my finances. And I hate to say it, but there's one word that's going to come up and that is budget. Now I could just imagine loads of people switching off right now. No one wants to talk about budget. When we think of budgets, we think of boring spreadsheets, restriction, stress, things that you don't want to know. But a budget is actually so much more than that. It's an opportunity to tell your money where you want it to go. And so last year, when the car broke down and I was about to get married, I decided to get really friendly with my budget. And I realised I didn't really have a budget. I thought I had a budget, and yeah, I paid my bills off, but I didn't have a proper budget. So in this video today, I'm going to share with you how I create my budget and the 3 simple steps that I take each month just to ensure that 1, I can live today, 2, that I can save for tomorrow, and 3, that I can enjoy today, because it is all about balance. If this sounds good to you, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with the video. So if you've been following me on Instagram for a while, you'll see the journey that I've gone through to get to this stage. There's been so many steps, there's been so many slip-ups, but we're getting there. And that's something you may find as well. You may find that it's not going to work the first month, and that's fine. As long as you're learning, that's fine. Like, everyone's journey is so different. The worst thing you can do is keep repeating the same thing over and over again, which is what I used to do in my 20s. So I split my budget into 3 simple parts. They all are just as important as each other. The first part is bills, so that's all the bills to get by. Make sure that we've got a roof over our head, electricity, electricity, food, all those things. I like to move all my bills to payday, as close to payday as possible, so I can just tick them all off on payday and realise, yep, it's all done, bills are all paid for the month, don't need to worry about looking for any direct debits. And most suppliers do allow you to do this, either online if you log in online, or maybe give them a quick call. They'll have selected dates where you can choose, or you can even choose the actual date that you get paid. The second one is saving as well, so that's saving for tomorrow, the future. And also what comes under saving, which I've decided just this year, is investments, but that's a video for a whole different day. But savings as well, so saving for tomorrow. Now straight away, I'm sure some of you are thinking, I don't have any money to save, now's not the time, I can only afford this much. It doesn't matter. Like, I was in the same position last year April. I was tracking my spending and someone said to me, if you was to start your journey all over again, would you save? And I said, yeah, I would, because I wouldn't be in this position now. Yeah, I would. I was devoting all my money to paying off the credit cards, the loans and stuff, but I didn't save much money for now. That really stuck with me, that conversation. And as I was tracking my spending the following day, I realised that I'd just bought a TGI's, I'd just bought a Starbucks, but yet I was telling myself I had no money to save. So I realised that is enough. I realised things have to change, and so I decided to create something new, a little small motivational structure that worked, and that was the minimum savings method. And how that works is where you simply choose an amount which you won't miss. So for me, I was obsessed with coffees all the time, so that was like £5 to get a coffee and a little snack. So I said £5 I don't miss, because no matter how skinny I am, I have money to have a coffee. So I said, okay, I'll choose £5. And then I decided what was the one thing that I wanted to start saving for now. Like, out of all the things, what motivates me to save? And that was a house, to buy a house. That's just gonna get the ball rolling. And it was one April evening, I decided to just save £5 for the house. And then before you knew it, my friends came up to visit, and I budgeted roughly £80 for that visit, and I came in under budget by about £10, and I doubled it to £10 because I realised that if I kept my spending low, then I was able to save even more money. And that's the beginning of my savings journey. Now fast forward nearly a year later, I have a lot more saved than just the 10 £5 instalments. I've changed my mindset to just start saving, and so I find myself looking for extra income to save in my budget, or if I receive a gift or if I receive a refund, I find myself using that money to help me save even more money. So definitely starting to save, no matter how small, is so worth it. If I can try and top it up throughout the month, even better, but as long as I've made those initial steps, that's perfect. And finally, the last section is spending. Obviously this is one of my favourite parts of the budget, because, you know, I love spending money, but at the same time it was a real eye-opener. How my budget works is I actually have several spending pots. These range from treats to beauty to clothing to miscellaneous to school, and there's a story behind each one of those spending pots. And the reason why is because I track my spending. So when I'm tracking my spending, if I'm noticing that there's any common unexpected expenses such as school trips, school uniforms that I'm not planning for, after a while, after a few months, I decide, you know what, I'm going to create that school category. Or maybe for my treats, I know deep down I want to have a coffee, or I want to take my son to a nice event, or we want to go for a bite to eat. Like, I'm going to budget some money for that. A mistake I was making before was I was being completely unrealistic, creating budgets where I didn't have spending money, and then when payday came, I'd be like spending money that I actually didn't have because I hadn't budgeted for it. So definitely ensuring that I tracked my spending, even just for 1 week, it was a real eye-opener. It gave me a real insight to how I was spending, and I was able to create a realistic budget for it. Now, it's not to say that when payday comes or when I spend money on an average month now that I don't ever go over budget. I do at times, you know, I do definitely go over budget, but the impact of it is so much smaller than before, and at the end of the month I still have something to show for it because I've always made sure that I've saved first and then I've spent the money. This is the part where I can spend money to enjoy today, because life is all about balance. balance. Being on this debt-free journey, it's very easy to look forward to a debt-free date. It's very easy to focus on buying that house. But if we actually look at the grand scheme of things, we're on a financial journey for a very long time, for a lot of years. First of all, you may be trying to become debt-free. The second thing might be trying to buy a house. The third thing might be trying to save a year's worth of emergency funds. There's so many things that we need to achieve financially, but at the same time, it's like, are you prepared to go a whole year, 10 years without having fun? There's got to be balance, and I am not here for that. So for me, spending is an important thing as well. When payday arrives, I use a fixed bills tracker where I just check that every single bill has been paid off and make sure that I've seen the money leave my account, because I've missed it before and it's caused a whole load of confusion. The second step is actually moving the money from my current account into all my savings accounts. I like to keep separate savings accounts for each one of my goals. And then finally, I like to move a chunk of money into my spending card, and then I know that's how much money I've got for the month, and try my absolute best to save as much as possible from that spending card. And that's how I create my budget. 3 simple steps: bills, saving, spending, with a focus to ensure that we've always got a roof over our head and our bills are paid. We save for tomorrow and our future, and we also enjoy today, because being on a budget, it doesn't have to be boring and restrictive. It means that you can just enjoy yourself and ensure that you're still saving for tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading on a weekly basis every Sunday for now, but if you like this video, once again, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.